Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Raihan, and today you're listening to Codevcast. So, in this session, we already bring another special guest. We met at the IGS conference, so it's been a long time. So, without any further ado, let's call him. Hello, Sandeep. How are you?
Yeah, hi Rehan. I'm doing good. How about you?
Good, good, good. Oh my God, it's throwing me back. We explored in Singapore
Yeah,
together.
yeah. It's almost 1.5 month, but still we are into the same memories. It's good to meet you and
Y- y-
nice sharing of learning.
Yeah,
And also on the personal point of view, we explored Singapore well.
right.
That's nice.
Yeah, yeah, so nice. So maybe you can introduce first yourself to the Codevcast friends out there.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Hello everyone. Myself Sandeep Kapalawai. I'm from India, specifically on the southern part of India. And yeah, I was into IT industry for almost around close to 8 years. And yeah, I've been majorly working into front end. Been working into started my career with using jQuery and few part of JavaScript, because I started my career at the time where the React is getting into the boom. It was my education was done in the year 2015, so it was very less often companies started using 2000 like all this. And I started my career as a web developer, and there I have started working as into HTML, more into into PHP, some part on the
Mm-hmm.
PHP, and mostly jQuery to have handle the JavaScript simulations and everything. So that there I have worked for around 3 years, and then I moved to a service-based company. Then that is the place I have started my experience more into front end. I say it's like I started using React, and I started with React 15 version. And yeah, then that was continued till I have worked into banking. I worked for Wells Fargo for 2 years, and then there I have worked into React more oftenly. And with the good thing that I have got is I have been very much grown there as into arch- being into more architecture point of view. And I got a very, because since it's a bank, it is very compliance to its code quality and everything. So people who I I spent more time writing my code for components
Mm-hmm.
than writing my unit test there, because that is the most part tricky part, and this is the
Yeah.
most thing that we used to do. So yeah, that continued my journey till other company. And I'm currently working into majorly, I mean, I'm currently working into a new company, which is we are into supply chain platform. So I work at a company called AP Molar Mask. If you heard about container shipping, so
Yeah.
we are one of the primary one into some supply chain platform who deals with container shipment. So here my major work role is into Vue.js, and 80% is into Vue.js. And still I have some I feel working into React, but I do have a old application which works on React. So I'm also enjoying the Vue.js. It is it's quite easy and adaptable, because for those people who worked into React libraries, it is easy to adapt the Vue.js. So that's my journey currently. And I'm exploring into a few other parts into a Node.js and GraphQL, more into front end. And yeah, I was also worked into accessibility part. And before I was known to banking, and accessibility was a major concern there. So I enjoyed it, and thoroughly I coded, and I have done the kind of testing with NVIDIA, and it is quite enjoying. And that's the place I think I found your talk is very interesting. And it was I learned a lot of things from the talk that you
Yeah.
provided. So I think that was a. I think I should take the few things from there from your talk. It is nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I was also interesting about the testing that you brought in the IGS last year in Singapore.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
what do you think about the unit testing? I mean, in general.
Yeah, so there's a myth I can say. It's like unit testing is like major concern, because rather than because you need to than you write an end-to-end testing. It's like for every application that you do, the kind of testing is mandatory, right? Without that you cannot ship your code. So when you say the testing, it might be manual testing, but it is not always helpful. Why? Because if you want to do end-to-end testing on day by day, it is going to be involved into a lot of tasks, right? So that is why you have an testing methodologies like unit testing, integration, and automation testing. So it depends upon your use case. And it's like, if you ask me, two major things which I feel is like I've been experienced in my current role, and been experiencing it now. So automation is one of the thing that you have to see, because one is like you write your components, but you can test your piece of code whether it's working, the component is right. But at the end you also need to ship your components together, right? So which becomes your application, and that's a block of codes combines to your whole application. And there you need to have automation test. And if I talk a bit more about automation testing, you can run your automation tests on every day by day to test how your application is behaving. And if anything is failing, you have to fix that. That reduces a person who is doing a manual effort. But at the same time, giving an equal opportunity to unit testing before you implement or before you write on a component, that is one of the things. So how we used to follow, and how I mean, like, is best practice, I say, it's like, maybe I feel, considering everyone works in an agile way, in a companies these days, companies wanted to follow that agile, right? So if you want to implement, so agile methodology is very important to, whether you are in a scrum or whether you are an individual developer or anything. So if you are working on any user story or any functionality, you create a with a recipes, as in like what parts that you need, whether you code for a UI and unit test, and then automation test. So you can write your steps, how your code should functionality and your UI should functionality. And basing on that, before you start a component, I would recommend to have a snippet of the code from the unit testing point of view. And there you can start your because the more you know the unit testing part, the more you can write your component code easily. That's what I believe. And because there are, but more majority of us, including me, I have done a kind of a big beginning of my stages, or in the mid roll of when I'm in the mid roll, I used to write my component code, and then I used to write unit testing, which everyone does, which is also fine. But the best recommendation of people, like from not just from me, but it is like advisable from the community point of view. It's always you have to write your unit test first, and then you can go with your code flow on the component. So whether you irrespective of whether you use any component or library, sorry, any libraries, but this is follow basic steps which we have to go ahead to start with any betterment of our unit tests or testing life cycle in our application.
Yeah, so like unit testing, it's do you think like black box testing is just enough for testing the UI component? Just click that, or we should also like we need to also implement the white box testing. That way, which is the unit testing is included the white box, right? So what do you think about that?
Yes. Yeah, it is. I would say it is both are needed, because the more you do in the unit testing, the lesser you put efforts in automations. How you can say is like, if you write a component, you write
Yes.
a styles and you write your
Okay, okay.
state variables or whatever, like if you are using any store or anything. But in your unit test, you have to think about which like example, you click on a button and that that emits an action, or that calls to an particular store method or actions, right? So these are the main things that you have to focus, which is comes into black box testing. But like you might also have a conditional styles or anything based upon any clicks on that I feel like you have to take care of that in automation, because it's going to be a kind of kubasum if you want to write with that, because rather than, because in automation test these like you can write, you can find with a element level and in the browser level how your DOM renders, so it will be an easy to do. But here it is like kind of tricky, and if you want to mock a component which is easy to do here from the unit test, so that's I feel like you have to uh, balance between white box and black box testing whenever you want to do with that testing.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, I agreed. I mean, like, do you have like resource to learn about the unit testing, something like that, or what's your recommendation for tools that they can use for unit testing or testing in general?
Yeah, to me, I mostly follow in the like the actual documentation library. Although I feel it is like sometimes it is harder to read, but if you start using it, you will get to know.
Yeah.
But it is like that is a one thing, and other choice that I see is about is like going through any medium documents, or like I used to, I'm a regular reader on the blog rocket, so I used to get my resources like get my time spent on the log rocket, or like actual documentation on the Vue.js or like Vue utils or React utilities libraries. So I spend there. So that is the best thing, because you get the main source of information there, and you, whether you notice from the medium or anything, it's the same source you get the information from.
Exactly. We can
And
find
yeah,
so
I
many
also,
sources, right?
sorry, yeah, I
Yeah.
also see you can, if you are a if you are a kind of person who don't want to spend a lot of time, I would recommend to you go with a cheat sheet you can find in anywhere, so you can, that is an easiest way to get the
Mm,
things done. So
yeah.
that is one of the things I prefer sometimes.
All right. So playwright, like the tools that you bring in the IGS, right? That you,
Right.
yeah. And the other things that we all always skip about the unit testing is, it's always we not always cover everything in the unit testing, right? So the
Right.
business logic is always changing. So should we also put uh the test first, or should we program the logic first? What do you think? Which one that is really best on your experience?
Okay, so yeah, that's a good question, which everyone gets into this one, right?
Yeah.
So if you are dealing with a lot of logic in your front end, ideally, so in that case, you have to write your logic case for the first time, because this is a case if business functionality gets changed, this is the first thing that you get noticed on that. So if you are using any of the library, so you often you have to run your whole test, so that if you without unnoticingly, if a developer A works on and developer B changes the business logic, and if you are deploying that pipeline, and you will get to notice that, and before the deployment, I can say, you if you have any DevOps implemented at your side, that is a very good to have, because I and you can actually break down your test in a component to have a describe block. If you are writing any like example, if you are rendering any buttons, which is fine, but if you are testing any logic, like if you are clicking on the button and you want to to calculate something, and you want to see something, you I would recommend to have a proper describe blocks which describes each functionality that you are going to test, and it is always easy to track, and each assertion or that you do, it will be in the test block, so that is easy to identify, and you can uh, break down as much as your text possible in each describe, so that you have ample enough uh, tests that you can able to modify. And always there is a principle actually to follow with a triple A. We say that is arrange, act, and hazard. So what does it means? Like you arrange your order of test, and then you can act according to your then and you can asset as in like what you expect and what is not getting. And it's always to do positive testing and negative testing. So that will help you to find if something is that it's like if you are passing a props and if your component is behaving should behave like a something you expect. Most often everyone does like you see that whether the props are getting passed or not, but you see if a props xyz is passing and you see how the component is rendering which if the prop abc is getting passed. And you also need to see how the component is should not behave. So this is a false negation component negation unit testing that you need to do. So it's this is a case where we often forgot, but this is a thing we it's always at least on the logic part. If you ask me, I would recommend to do kind of positive and negative cases to this will help you in a further way when this kind of cases arises.
Yeah, interesting. That's so really helpful. Yeah, sometimes like in my company it's actually like so we like doing the unit testing over and over. The logic is like
Hmm.
changes is always changing, but
Yeah,
it's tiring,
yeah,
changing everything codes.
right. And then you can also if you are going through if you are using an integration test, this will also help you to find if any selectors are getting changed. So you can uh, you can rather than component testing, if you go with this unit testing, you can find the integration test more helpful if you if you are coming across that situation more often.
Yeah,
And even the
exactly.
automation is also safe because but it depends upon how we write our code.
Hmm. So when your next talk to talking about the testing, when your
Hopefully
next,
soon. I'm still get taking some time,
yeah.
but at the same time, I'm trying to explore more on the same any other conferences. But hoping sometime soon, I would like to because I'm also gaining a lot of knowledge on that, and at the
Uh-huh.
same time, I'm happy to
Yeah.
share my learnings to other people.
So, do you think like what's your next milestones or achievement that you want to achieve this year? Maybe getting more speak at conference.
Yeah, I feel like so. Yes, I wanted to speak more on this one, and at the same
Uh,
time, it's like I also have a other thing that I wanted to build something as a
mm-hmm.
I am using a Cursor sometime, and the Cursor is an application where you can build your multi-level platform with a one code.
Yeah.
So that is one of my next goal to achieve and promote. I mean, discuss about in this further talks. And yeah, I am also gaining some exposure on Next.js, so uh, which is my primary thing. I'm doing focusing now, and yeah, I at the out of these areas I was like still working on front end, but I'm just focusing on back end. uh, Not much, but much at the moment. But yeah, I'm trying to achieve my knowledge on the back end with a .NET exposure, so that because in the current trend you need to upgrade yourself without
Yeah.
it's
Exactly.
difficult to get things. So it's going to be the same principle that you learn from, but the way of writing the code is getting style change. So I would always recommend, including me, I motivate myself to upgrade yourself whenever you are having some time, because this is a generation of AI. We cannot
Yes.
assure
Exactly.
ourselves.
Mhm.
So,
Are you like planning to learn another languages like other than JavaScript? Maybe Rust, the sexist language right now? Yeah, so many
yeah,
people
yeah, yeah.
I see resolution for this year learning Rust, learning Rust. I don't know what to train about the Rust. Yeah.
Yeah, I particularly don't keep any resolution because the resolutions will remain like resolutions. So
Yeah.
either
Uh,
you either you should forget the resolution, and whatever you do is a kind of resolution, because resolution is something that's might I can say. It's like people say, but it is sometimes they won't make it. So maybe rather than resolution, keep it as a goal. So and a goal as in your career goal, so that it will help you personally and in, a, in your career point of view.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, it's really interesting that to talking with you, but the time is flies. So, do you think like you have any words or advice for a developer out there to learn about programming or already learn about programming, but they want to upgrading their skills or anything like that?
Right. So learning is a continuous thing. So every day is a kind of new learning that we see. So whether you do the same work, I would you try to do that in a different way. So yeah, that same I echo again. It's like upgrading yourself and trying to make a new thing every day, so that it will feels you interesting to do more and more to achieve in the things. That's the current lifestyle of me, and I'm trying to do the same.
Yes, exactly. Upgrading skills, upgrading yourself. You can achieve to do your next level of
Yeah,
yourself.
yes, yes. During the talk, I mean, during the conference, I met, I mean, including you, and I met many people, right? So everyone has a different career goals and different way of thinking, but all of them is like I see like everyone is very far behind of the technology. I mean, far advanced with the technology and having a good architecture point of view. So it's like the more you do, the more you can get to know of the things, right? Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Like joining the networking with the communities
right, right.
around your cities, around your country, and
Yeah,
best your location. Yeah, it's so
yes,
nice to. All
yes,
right,
yes.
so the time is so short. Maybe we can do another chat with another persons. Maybe I will bring
Yeah.
another cool developers.
Mm.
Let's
Mm.
yeah, let's meet again, Sandeep.
Okay.
So
See
yeah,
you guys. Thank you,
yeah.
Ryan, for your time. And it
Thank
was
you,
nice
thank you.
talking to you.
Yes, thanks
Thank
again
you.
for the for your time for to spare your time in joining
Okay, that's fine.
in
Yeah.
the
Thank you.
Codevcast.
Pleasure to
That's
have
it. I appreciate.
to talk to you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
attention.
Bye.
See you in the next episode. Peace and bye bye. Salam.